I think there is clearly a playoff team here, but I don't know if they're going to do much when they get there because of their current quarterback situation, honestly. Welcome to the jungle, everyone. I'm Kyle Phelps, and I think we're starting to get to the bottom of who some of these teams in the NFL are right now. I think we're starting to see that there are a lot of frauds out there. Anyway, we're going to break down that in the power rankings this week, but before we get into all that, I'd just like to ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. It really helps my channel grow, and it helps you guys know when I put out all of my videos. We just crossed over 200 subscribers the other day, y'all. Next stop, the moon! As a heads up for all the new people, and as a reminder for everybody else, we do these rankings in a tier list format. I have 6 different categories, but we're only briefly going to talk about the bottom 3 before moving into a deep dive on the top 14 teams. Some lowlights from this group include the Pittsburgh Steelers, who Charlie Batch came to the defense of, claiming that the Eagles disrespected them by benching their starters. And quite frankly, I don't think they did, Charlie. I think the Steelers already done disrespected themselves long before Nick Foles ever came in that game. Then there's the Browns, who, showed some signs of life this week. Although I'm not ready to put them in the playoff hunt category just yet, but, we'll see. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were once Super Bowl contenders, and now they're not even a playoff team in my eyes. That's just crazy. Alright, so that's probably already too much time spent on all of those teams, though, right? Real quick, I want to touch on the New Orleans Saints, who I'm almost ready to call a playoff team, but I'm not quite there yet with Andy Dalton being named the starter for the rest of the season. And then the LA Rams, who need to prove that they can actually beat the 49ers before I ever believe in them, honestly. We're going to kick things off, though, on the deep dive with the number 14 team, the New England Patriots. I really do struggle with figuring out whether this team is good or not. Like, taking down the red-hot Jets was great, but I've still got that 1-4 start stuck in my head. And then getting embarrassed by the Bears on primetime, yuck. Now, at number 13, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals, and I know maybe I'm overreacting because, I care too much about this team, but y'all, Cheeto Awuzie is out for the season now. Did y'all see what Jacoby Brissett did to Trey Flowers while he was trying to play outside corner? I'm not saying the season's over or anything like that, but I am saying that it's going to start looking pretty rough here. With all these injuries that the Bengals are racking up, I'm starting to worry that the playoffs might not even be in their future. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting close. At number 12, it's the Miami Dolphins, who haven't exactly had the most difficult schedule lately, but I'm not sure it matters because Tua's getting warmed back up, and that could be scary for the rest of the NFL. Finally, it's number 11. I got the New York Jets. On some level, I think I always knew that putting them in the top 10 was too high, and that's simply just entirely because of Zach Wilson. I think there is clearly a playoff team here, but I don't know if they're going to do much when they get there because of their current quarterback situation, honestly. Next up with the contenders, we've got number 10, and it's the San Francisco 49ers. Now, injuries, no injuries, doesn't matter. They're always going to beat the Los Angeles Rams, and you can always put money on that. I'd still be a little surprised to see them take the division because of all those injuries they have, but they're definitely not going away. Credit to Kyle Shanahan for doing so much with those cards. However, I am starting to think that my number 9 team is a bona fide contender. That's the Seattle Seahawks. Was Russell Wilson the problem in Seattle? It's really hard to make that argument considering how electric he was in Seattle, but at the same time, it's also really hard to argue with the results. This team has Geno Smith at quarterback, and they're balling out. Number 8, it's the Tennessee Titans, who I'm still pretty underwhelmed by. But I guess you just can't argue with the results like with the Seahawks. Malik Willis, though? Nah. Number 7, it's the Baltimore Ravens. I still think that they're hella overrated. But 5-3 is 5-3, man. Like with the Titans and like with the Seahawks, can't argue with results, honestly. Finally, at number 8, it's the Dallas Cowboys. Is the rise of Tony Pollard proof of the overratedness of Ezekiel Elliott? I don't know, man, but I do know that their offense looks scary, and their defense is pretty good, regardless of the way that they played against the Bears, right? Finally, I've got the Super Bowl contenders, and at number 5, I'm not going to overreact, because I know the Seahawks are a solid football team, but I'm still knocking the New York Giants down a little bit for taking another loss this week. Eventually, that bill for Daniel Jones' mediocrity is going to come due. Is it next week? We'll see. But you definitely saw some holes in the armor this week. At number 4, it's the Minnesota Vikings. I don't believe in the Arizona Cardinals at all, but the Vikings are 6-1 after beating them, and they just got TJ Hawkinson in a great trade with the Lions. Somebody's got to move up with the Giants moving down, so it's got to be the Vikings. Number 3, the Kansas City Chiefs were on bye, so they stay put. Number 2, I got the Philadelphia Eagles, who still look insane and still don't look like they have any real major flaws. Much like my number 1 team, which is the Buffalo Bills, who remain number 1 after being here for the entire season so far. I called that earlier when, the Bills lost to the Dolphins. I still kept the Bills at number 1 because I'm like, they should have beat the Dolphins. They did beat the Dolphins, and then they stupidly ran out of time. And, I mean, that is their fault, I'm not going to, praise them for that, but at the same time, the Buffalo Bills are a great football team, man, and they keep showing it every single week. I don't see them moving anywhere at any point. So that's all I got for the power rankings this week, y'all. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will feature the best ones in my next video. Like this one from Ghost Andrew 1435, who said, as a Chargers fan, I can't wait for the Chargers to get into the contenders rank. Well, you see, Ghost Andrew, frankly, I don't really even see them as a playoff team yet. Justin Herbert is basically just the reincarnation of Phillip Rivers, and the Chargers, they charger. That's what they do. But I do appreciate you commenting. So for your sake, I hope they prove me wrong. I hope they change up their fortunes, and I hope they make it there at some point for your sake. But if you want to see more of my content, you can always find more of what I do at KylePhelps92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/ThePhelps, the Battle of Ohio podcast, which is on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and right here if you subscribe. But that's all I've got this week, guys, so I'll leave y'all, as always, with a hootie!